Oh, well. I am late as fuck. Nobody's going to be here, but it's fine. I'm gonna watch Jen McCrabe. Fuck it. Three. I'm putting her on 1 point.
That you pull the microphone closer.
It's just me, myself, and I. I don't
Thank
even
you, Your
care
Honor.
anymore.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ooh,
Please
that's
introduce
fast.
yourself to the jury.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm Jennifer McCabe, MCCABE.
Ms. McCabe, how old are you?
I'm 49 years old.
Are you married?
Yes, I am married with 4 daughters.
Without detailing your children's names, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Sure, I have 4 daughters that are 16, 17, 19, and 21. 2 are in high school and 2 are in college.
In raising your children, was your family active in local sports?
Yes, all 4 of my daughters played multiple sports from when they were young. 2 now are playing in college. My husband and I both coached them. My husband coached them from when they were young up through 8th grade in soccer, and I coached them in basketball.
Without telling me your address, what town are you from?
I'm from Canton.
How long have you lived in Canton with your family for?
I was born and raised in Canton, and now I'm raising my family there.
So your family, their whole life, you've raised them in Canton?
1 year we lived in Stoughton with my daughter.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my husband and my 4 daughters.
Can you briefly give me a little bit more background on your children's school and your participation in that and interaction with your children, raising them?
Yeah, so I was a teacher, and then once I had children, I stayed at home with them, and basically was just kind of like your typical, I don't know, small town mom. I was the room parent. I coached them.
I'll allow it when we.
Yes.
When I coached, I drove the kids back and forth on my team, would take them places, etc.
In the growth of your family and raising your children, at some point did you meet a gentleman by the name of John O'Keefe?
Yes.
Share with us meeting John O'Keefe.
Sure. When my 3rd daughter was in kindergarten, she became friends with John's niece. And during that kindergarten school year, unfortunately, Kaylee's mother and father both passed away, and John moved in the house and became Mr. Mom.
When John took over guardianship of the children, did you assist in an active role in helping him?
Yes. Kaylee and my daughter were very close. So she would come over and play. My daughter would go over there. Kaylee would come and have sleepovers. A lot of times it would be on Friday nights. I would have Kaylee, and then another individual would have Patrick.
Had you known John O'Keefe well before he took over guardianship of the children?
No.
During the time when he was the guardian of the children, did your relationship, not just with his niece and nephew, but with him, grow any closer?
Yes, we became very good friends.
How close of friends did you become over the years?
Well, throughout the years, obviously, when they were younger, we talked more, just about the logistics of CCD, pick up, drop off, basketball, sports. But then he would also call me, about, as the girls got older, the girl drama or, the hormones and things like that. He would also come over, and hang out and have a beer and, just talk about whatever was new in his life or going on, or, just the day in and day out struggles of his, life and raising the kids now and figuring it all out with, work and family and all that.
Leading into January 28th of 2022, so the jury understands, how close is your friendship with John O'Keefe at that time?
He was a very good friend of mine that I knew I could call for anything.
I want you to take us forward to January 28th, 2022. Do you remember that day?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember it well?
Yes.
Take us to the early morning hours, January 28th, 2022. Did you learn there may be weather or a storm coming?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
We all saw the report that there was going to be a big storm, a nor'easter. So we all knew that basically all the Saturday activities were going to be canceled.
That includes sports?
Yes.
Was and is the sporting events for the children a big part of your life?
Yes. Back then I had, 2 in high school that played 3 sports, and they played club sports as well. And then the 2 middle school played club sports and town sports. So most of our weekends were taken up by kind of running from one sporting event to the next.
When you learned about the weather and the changing schedule, did it change your plans for that day?
No, not particularly. I had my day was pretty set out. I had my niece, and then I had sporting events. It was kind of my plans for the next day that obviously got changed.
Take us through the afternoon of the 28th. What's happening?
Well, I had my niece for the week, and she was picked up. My oldest was on the hockey team, and she was having a team dinner at the house. So I picked up pizza, got desserts, set it up for them. And then I left with my daughters and my husband, Matt, and we met some of the parents from the high school basketball team at a local pub to grab a bite and a drink before the basketball game, because my other daughter played on the high school girls basketball team.
What time was the basketball game set for that night?
I believe it was 6 or 6:30.
Did you and your family go to the game?
Yes, we did.
After the game, what happened?
After the game, I drove my daughter home. My sister, Nicole, sent me a text and said that she was going to be at the waterfall, and it was my nephew's birthday. He was going to meet up, and did I want to come by for a drink?
What is your nephew's name?
Brian Jr.
It was his birthday that night?
Yes, it was.
When you received a call to meet with friends and family at the waterfall, do you remember what time that plan was made?
I don't. My sister sent me a text at some point letting me know she was going to be there, so I don't know what time.
After the game and after some time, did you go to the waterfall to meet your friends and family?
Yes, I did.
Describe very briefly, what's the waterfall?
It's just a local town bar.
Remember about what time you got to the waterfall?
About 9 o'clock.
When you got there, was there anybody there that you knew?
Yes.
Okay, now take us inside the waterfall. When you get there, who do you see?
I walk in and I see Julie and Chris Albert, my niece Caitlin, my sister Nicole, and my niece's boyfriend Tristan.
You said you saw Julie, Nicole, Albert in the waterfall?
Yes.
Were you related to either of them?
Nicole is my sister.
So Brian Sr. would be your brother-in-law?
Yes.
Also, you mentioned there was a niece?
Yes, Caitlin.
Is that Brian and Nicole's daughter?
Yes.
You mentioned the name Tristan. What's his relationship to Brian Albert's niece?
He's now her fiance.
Was there anybody else on this?
That's all who was there. I'm not sure if Nick Kolokides was already in there when I got there, or if he arrived right after, and then his wife joined us.
So when you're in the bar, you see your friends. What do you do next?
I immediately just, join them and sit down.
Were you eating, drinking?
I know I ordered a beer. They had appetizers on the table. I'm not sure whether I had any or not.
Were you drinking alcohol that night?
Yes.
Did you spending time with your family? Did the night grow?
Yes.
Did you stay at the table where everybody's eating, or did you move inside the bar?
We were pretty much right around the table.
Did anybody you knew join you or join the group at some point?
Yes. A little while later, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins joined us at the waterfall.
So when you first got there, was Brian Albert already there?
No, he wasn't.
Is that your brother-in-law, Brian Albert?
Yes.
And you said Mr. Higgins. Did you know Mr. Higgins?
I had met him a few times when he was out with Brian.
You had met him a few times before that night?
Yes.
Were you friendly with him?
He was a friend of Brian's.
Was he your friend?
No, he's Brian's friend.
You knew who he was?
Yes.
So when Mr. Albert and Mr. Higgins joined the group later, did they come directly to you, or did they stay somewhere else inside the bar?
No, they came over to our table, I believe.
How long were you in the waterfall for that night?
Approximately 9 to little around midnight-ish.
About 3 hours?
Yes.
Do you have an estimate how many drinks you had, alcoholic drinks you might have had?
I don't. I don't know. Maybe 2, 3.
Throughout the night, were you feeling any effects of the alcohol?
Not that I recall, no.
When the group was together, you mentioned a number of people joined. Were you joined by other people later?
Yes.
Who were you joined by later?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed.
And you talked about your relationship with John O'Keefe?
Yes, earlier, yes.
Did you make plans with him, or did he just show up?
I believe he had started the conversation about the night with Chris Albert.
Chris Albert is a different Albert than Brian Albert?
Yes.
How was the relationship between them?
Brian Albert and Chris Albert are brothers.
Was Chris Albert there when Mr. Higgins and Brian Albert arrived?
Yes. Actually, Chris, did I miss him? Because Chris was there with Julie. Did I? I'm not sure if I said that when I was naming everyone at the table. I apologize.
You may have.
Okay.
So when you first got there, he was at the table with your
Yes.
sister?
Yes, he was.
When moments before John O'Keefe arrived with the defendant, what was the mood in the group?
Cheerful. Good mood. Everybody was just out having a drink. We all knew the storm was coming tomorrow, and just a typical average night.
Celebratory?
Yeah.
You said you were going to see Brian Albert Jr. for
Yes.
his birthday. Was Brian Albert Jr. at the water?
Because when I think impending storm, I think cheerful, joyful experience.
When you got there?
No, he was not.
Was Brian Albert Jr. there anytime when you were at the waterfall?
No, he was not.
Without relating a conversation with some other person, did you have an understanding where Brian Albert Jr. was?
He was at home.
Did you historically typically see Brian Albert Jr., your nephew, on his birthday?
Yeah, typically we always, get together. We try to and do a cake for whoever's birthday it is, and then whatever, aunts or cousins are around, come over.
When John O'Keefe arrived at the waterfall with the defendant, do you have a general estimate, or guess, not guess, but a general estimate of what time they arrived?
Approximately 11.
When they first arrived, did you see them?
Yes.
Where did you see them coming from?
I saw them walk in.
When they walked in, did you react in any way?
Yes, I was happy to see them
Why were you happy to see them?
because I love John and I liked Karen.
So you were happy to see John?
Yes, very.
You were happy to see the defendant?
Yes.
Do you remember your first interaction with either John or the defendant that night inside the waterfall?
I believe John walked over to where I was, kind of to my end of the table, and then maybe Karen had walked to the other end of the table. But I would assume I probably hugged both of them when I saw them.
I'm going to ask you not to assume if you don't know that.
Okay.
Yet. You said that you had known the defendant as well.
Yes.
Do you remember how long she had been dating John O'Keefe up to that point?
I know I met her in July of 2020.
Had you had a chance to spend time or interact with her over that time before that night at the waterfall?
Yes, I had.
And share with us some of the moments or some of the reasons that you would interact.
The first time I met Karen, John had reached out. We would do pool days with him and his niece and his nephew. So he had told me he was dating a new girl and he wanted to bring her over. He said that she had multiple sclerosis. I also have multiple sclerosis. So he thought that would be something we could, we would talk and bond over. I said, yeah, great, bring her over. So her and John and Kaylee and Patrick came over. We had a pool day. I liked Miss Reed immediately. I thought we hit it off. It was really great, talking to someone my age that also had MS, because I didn't really know a lot of people who have it. So it was really nice to have somebody to relate to. Then moving forward, we would see them, it was my daughter's birthday party. When it was time for pickup, they would come in, have a couple drinks. Same thing for like a Halloween party, after basketball games.
So you spent time both with John and Miss Reed?
Yes.
Did you spend time with the defendant separately without John around?
No.
Did you become friendly with her?
Yes.
And were you friendly that night?
Yes.
After John and the defendant entered the bar and you agreed, did you interact or spend time with Miss Reed at the waterfall?
Yes, I did.
And speaking of the defendant, do you recognize her here in the courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Could you kindly point to her and describe an article of clothing she's wearing?
She's sitting right over there with that black shirt or blue.
Is she between Attorney Jackson and Attorney United?
Yes, she is.
When you were at the waterfall that night, do you remember who you were speaking to or where you were spending your time?
As to earlier in the night or after?
I'm sorry, after Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant arrived.
Yes, Miss Reed came over and spoke to me because I had seen her the Saturday before, and she had told me how she had started a new medication, and it was giving her some awful side effects. And I said, I'm shocked they put you on that, etc.
Let me not ask you about conversations you
Okay.
had, but about the moment that you were in. Did you spend time with Miss Reed that night?
Yes, I did.
Inevitably, did you drink more alcohol as the night went on?
I believe I had, like I said earlier, a couple of drinks, 2, 3, not sure.
Did you ever have a shot of alcohol?
I do not believe I had the shot, no.
Did you see the party, the group of friends and family doing a shot?
I was in the bathroom and walked out, and they were doing or had just done a shot.
With the court's permission, I'd like to display parts of Exhibit 22, which has already been introduced into evidence, which is video surveillance footage from the waterfall.
Okay.
I'd like to start at 10:54:20, please. If you could stop for 1 second. Do you recognize what's in that video?
Yes,
And what is that?
that is the waterfall.
Okay, kind of proceed. you could stop. Do you see the two people entering from the left?
I do.
Do you know who they are?
I believe that is Miss Reed and John O'Keefe.
Ms. Gilman, is there any way to enlarge the top of the video where the other people are closer to the table or bar? No. Okay. Looking at this video, can you tell or identify anybody under that timestamp? And if you can't, that's okay. But if you can you tell who you see?
I think the guy right there, well, where she just was is Brian Higgins.
Okay. If you could go up a little bit, Ms. Gilman.
I believe that's my husband, Matt, and then on the right, and I think that's me on the left.
Okay. And if you can go down the table to the left, Ms. Gilman. You recognize who that might be from the clothing?
I'd have to take a guess. That
Okay, don't guess. It's okay if you don't. Anybody else at the table more to the left do you recognize?
Not from this picture.
Ms. Gilman, could you highlight where Ms. McCabe thinks that she is in that video with that circle you just had and play the video? You could stop. Is that you clapping, Ms. McCabe?
Yes, it is.
Why are you clapping?
Because I was happy to see them.
Both of them.
Yes.
Okay. Could you continue, please? And who's that person walking right to left hugging people?
That is John O'Keefe.
Can you continue, please, Ms. Gilman? Are you interacting with anybody?
I can't see where I am.
Okay. If you could stop the video, please. Could you move ahead to 11:26:50, please? 11:26:50. Is that your group still at the waterfall?
Yes, it is.
If you could stop there, Ms. Gilman. If we could hone in or circle where you were previously, where we saw Ms. McCabe. I know it's a bit blurry. If you can, and if you can't, please let me know. Can you see whether you're in that area?
I believe I am, yes.
Could you put the circle down just a little bit, Ms. Gilman? Okay. If you could play from 11:26:50 to 11:27, please. We're a little bit ahead right now. Who are you hugging there?
I believe that's Miss Reed.
Thank you. One more, Ms. Gilman. I'm going to ask you to move forward to 11:46. Could you pause, Ms. Gilman? Could you circle in that same area where Ms. McCabe was last describing? Can you make anything out in this video?
Yes, it looks like they're all, toasting or doing a chair before they do a shot.
Can you see whether or not the defendant's in that part of the video?
Yes, it looks like she is in front of the man in the plaid coat.
Were you participating with the drinking at this moment?
I don't see myself in the video. I don't believe I was.
But you were drinking separately that night, weren't you?
Yes, I was drinking beer.
If you can continue, please. Thank you. Shortly after the shot, was there a conversation about leaving the waterfall as a group?
Yes, there was.
Was there any discussion about where the group should go?
At first, Miss Reed was asking if we could go up the street to D&E.
What's D&E?
D&E is a sub shop that's owned by Chris Albert.
Was it open that late at night?
No, it wasn't.
Had you in the past gone to that pizza shop after hours to eat?
Yes, we had.
And tell us what the defendant was saying?
She just kept asking, can we go up to D&E? Can we go up to D&E? She wanted just to go up and, Chris makes food and then we were going to go all, she wanted us all just to go up there and eat and hang out.
That wasn't an uncommon occurrence for the group to sometimes go to that pizza shop after hours, was it?
No.
Did the group decide to go to the pizza shop?
They decided they weren't going to go.
Was there a different plan made?
Before Brian Albert left, he said to the group, hey, we're going to go back home and have a beer with Brian Jr. If anyone wants to come by.
When you received the invitation to the group to go back to Brian Albert's house, did you decide whether you're going to go home or go back to your sister's house?
Yes, I decided I was going to go to my sister's house.
Without saying what was said, was there any discussion in the group among the participants about going back to your sister or Brian Albert's house?
Everybody seemed to want to go back.
Did anybody object to going back?
No.
Had you been to your sister's house before?
Yes.
Many times?
Yes.
Do you know the address of where your sister lived?
Yes.
And so after that conversation, did you stay at the waterfall for a little bit or did you leave immediately?
Probably left after maybe 5-10 minutes.
Without saying what was said, before you left, did you have a chance to speak to John O'Keefe?
I did, yes.
You spoke to him inside the waterfall?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to speak to the defendant?
Yes.
And was your plan to go back to your sister's house?
Yes.
Before you left, did you have any understanding whether or not Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant were going to join you?
Do you have an understanding regarding that?
Yes.
And what was your understanding?
They were coming.
Who else was going to go back to your nephew and your sister's house?
Brian Higgins and my niece, Caitlin.
A little after 12, did you leave the waterfall?
Yes.
Do you remember that night leaving?
Yes.
Before you left, did you talk to anybody in particular?
Yes. Miss Reed and then Mr. O'Keefe.
Did you speak to them inside the waterfall?
I walked out with Miss Reed and we spoke at the doorway and then John joined us.
Did you invite Ms. Reed to come with you?
I did, yes.
Did she decline?
Yes.
And who did you go to your sister's house with? Who drove?
I drove and I went with my husband, Matt.
Anybody else?
No.
Do you remember what time it was that you were speaking to Ms. Reed about going to your sister's house?
After midnight.
If I could have exhibit 22 again, Ms. Gilman, if you could take us to 12:10:36. Okay, you can stop it there, please. Did you have a chance to talk to Mr. O'Keefe and the defendant outside of the waterfall?
Yes.
And do you know specifically what time you left the waterfall?
Yo, Viva La 210. Also, for a minute there, you guys, I almost said, oh my God, the timestamp, it's going faster than a second. And then I realized we're fucking sped up. That is my bad. I'm a dingus doo-doo dingy head. Save the Alamo. Remember the Alamo. Viva La Alamo. Somebody made, also, Amy, dude, has it been since Suzanne when I last saw you, or was it after that? Nice to have you. Good to see the 210 in the house. So let me get this straight. Jen took the stand at 2:27 p.m. today. Is that what you're telling me? And the date and the time that she Googled that shit was 2:27, right? And John's birthday is 2:27. That's kind of crazy.
It was after midnight.
When you left the waterfall with your husband, you said you were driving. Did you stop anywhere along the way before you got to your sister's house?
No.
Tell us what you see when you get to your sister's house. What are the weather conditions like as you're driving there?
It's starting to snow to the point where it's starting to like accumulate. It's on your car. It's just, getting on the street.
Is it light? Is it heavy?
It's light at this point.
How long does it take to get from the waterfall to your sister's house?
5 to 8 minutes, depending on lights and weather, etc.
When you first get to your sister's house, while you're still in the car, describe what you see.
My wipers are on. I'm just looking out the window and it's snowing. It's dark.
Anybody in the driveway? Any cars in the driveway that you see?
Oh, when I pull up to my sister's.
Yeah.
As I pull down the street, I take a left into the driveway and there is a Jeep that's parked on the street and there's maybe a couple cars in my sister's driveway.
What do you do when you arrive at your sister's house?
I go
Same
nuts.
dude.
Now, there are a couple doors at your sister's house?
Yes.
Is there a front door?
Yes.
Is there a side door?
Yes.
Howdy,
Which door
Amy.
was
Howdy.
Which door do you go in when you get to your sister's house?
The front door.
Was anybody with you when you went in?
My husband, Matt.
You walked in together?
Yes.
Tell us the first person you remember meeting.
When I went in the house?
Yes.
Probably my niece was at the table and then I saw my nephew, Brian.
Was there anybody else you saw at the table?
Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson.
So when you walk in the front door of the house, is it what table? Is it a living room table or kitchen?
I'll tell you the benefit to playing things on super fast speeds is it makes crazy people, their micro behaviors or aggressions, it makes it stand out more. It makes it look a lot crazy. Like you can notice nervous tics quicker, like blinking too much, shaking a leg, drinking too much water. It's just kind of funny. So there are benefits.
Table?
Oh, you walk in and then you go to the right and it's into the kitchen and there's a table there.
Is the kitchen separate from the living room or is it open?
It's open, but they're separate.
Can you see the kitchen table when you walk in the door if you turn and look right?
Yes.
And when you go into the kitchen, you said there was a woman by the name of Julie Nagel?
Yes.
And then another one named Sarah?
Yes.
You know her last name?
Levinson.
Okay. Julie Nagel, did you know her?
Oh my God. I'm going to be honest. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, I do think that the sunburn with the caramel highlight looks better. I don't know who the fuck she's trying to fucking trick with this cross necklace, though, bitch. Come on. Yeah, I bet that's what gave her the red. I bet it burned her chest and went all the way up to her fucking head. Jesus.
When you walked in the house that night,
I'd met her a few times.
had you spent time with her? Were you friends with her?
No, I just had met her a few times and she'd watched my dog for me when my nephew couldn't.
When you would go away, would your nephew be responsible to watch your dog?
Yes.
Did you understand that Julie Nagel had watched your dog a couple of times?
Yes.
Had you ever socialized with her before that night?
And I may have seen her at a graduation party, but never beyond that.
Were you friends with her at that point?
No.
Friendly enough that she watched your dogs?
Yes, through my nephew. He just said my friend's going to do it and I trusted his judgment.
And there's another woman by the name of Sarah. Did you know her before you saw her that night?
I knew of her. If I would to see her, I'd say hi, but that's the extent of it.
How did you know of her?
Just from being in the town, going to different sporting activities and just being around.
You said your nephew Brian was there as well in the kitchen?
Yes.
This was his birthday?
Yes.
How old was he?
I think he was turning 23.
Was there anybody else in the house when you and your husband first got there?
Yes, my sister and Brian Albert and Brian Higgins.
So Mr. Higgins, Brian Albert, and your sister were there before you?
Yes.
I'm jealous of her ability to like block out emotions and just stay stone cold evil as fuck. Like, what a heel, dude. Oh my God, she's a heel.
Where was everybody when you first came in?
My niece Caitlin, Sarah Levinson.
She might be Haku. She might be Haku, dude. She could be a Fatu brother. Like, for real. She could legit be like, she could be something special one day, dude. Imagine her taking on Charlotte Flair, dude. Oh,
Julie Nagel and Brian Jr. were all at the kitchen table. My sister was over, I think, cleaning the counters, and Brian were off in that TV room that you can see from the kitchen.
Yes, dude, fucking book it, dude. Book it.
This is a wide opening.
If you walk in the front door, would I look left or right to see the TV room?
You look right to the kitchen and through the kitchen to the TV room, but you could look and when you walk in, you can see because it's open.
Is the TV room in any way have a relationship with that side door?
Yes, it does.
If you would walk in the side door, would
I
you walk
want
into the
that
TV room?
power.
Yes.
Give it to me.
When you saw your nephew Brian Jr. and his friends, his
To
friends,
be fair, 94 was the year everyone was on heroin and meth, so she probably was the best looking.
about the same age as him?
Yes.
Were they drinking?
Yes.
Was there music?
Yes.
And when you went in, did you spend time with the group?
Yes, I sat right down and started talking to them.
And when you were speaking to them, did you have any drinks that night?
I believe they brought me over a White Claw, but I didn't have more than a sip of it. I really wasn't. It was at that point where I just didn't want another drink.
As you were in the kitchen, were you expecting anybody else?
We had mentioned it to Karen and John, and I had actually just spoken to John, so I was expecting them.
So when you saw John O'Keefe in the waterfall, that wasn't the last time you spoke to him.
No.
You had spoken to him. Was it on the ride to your nieces? I mean, your sisters?
Yes.
Did you call him or did he call you?
He texted me.
Oh fuck! Did she get my perfect smile or something? Is that what it's called? The perfect smile? Did she get one of those? Is she wearing like the as seen on TV veneers? Because that shit is like. Did she go to Roman Reigns' dentist? Like, what is happening?
And I believe asked something like where to. And since I was driving, I called him.
Honey, the problem wasn't the color.
When you called him, what did you tell him? What did you guys say?
I just said they live 34 Fairview Road off of Chapman.
Do you know if John O'Keefe had ever been to
Dude, that's the shirt. Hottest shit in Canton. I'm making it.
the Albert home before?
I don't believe he had.
In that conversation, how long did that conversation take?
It was quick.
Was there any other conversation that you had with him other than that one conversation?
Yes, he called me back and
No, I'm saying she fixed the wrong part of the teeth. She thought it was the color. I'm like, honey, no, it's that. It's that fucking one.
he was trying to find it.
Trying to find the address?
Try to find the house on Fairview.
Did he ask you for help trying to find the address?
I'm not sure his exact words, but yes, he needed help. And so I just said, I told him just go down the street, go by Bella's house. It's at the bottom of the street.
So you used Bella's house as a
She
point of
sniffling
designation
a
to
lot.
guide him to get to
Jenny, got allergies. You allergic to justice, hun?
your sister's house?
Yes.
Tell us who Bella was to John.
Bella is my daughter and John's niece friend. So they're all, so Bella is friends with my daughter and John's
If
niece.
you go to the Cape, if you go to the Cape all the way to Provincetown, you can get a shark tooth necklace or you can get a gen tooth necklace, but they cost more.
And was there any relationship between Bella's mother and John that you knew of?
Oh shit, yeah. Can we speed up a little? Oh fuck yeah.
Expecting John and Karen to come.
Look.
At some point when you were in the kitchen, let me ask you a little background. As you're in the kitchen of that house, can you see outside from the kitchen area?
They had blinds or something down, but if the blinds were up, you could see out.
Were the blinds up?
No.
At any point were you able to see outside from inside the house?
From the front door, yes.
Is the front door, is it glass?
Yes.
At some point when you were with everybody in the celebration, did you have a chance to look outside?
Yes.
And when you looked outside, what did you see?
I saw a dark SUV out front.
Did you know whose SUV that was?
I believed it was Karen's.
Could you see who was in it?
No.
At that point in
It's
night,
you,
what does the weather
girl.
look like from the front door?
It's dark and it's snowing, and I could see, brake lights.
Did you see if that SUV moved at all?
I didn't see the SUV actually move, but I saw it in a few different locations.
Oh, I love how she conveniently pointed out this time around that she could see brake lights. I don't recall her saying that exact nomenclature. Like, you can see brake lights. Well, how convenient. Are you going to use that later when you talk about Karen's and how you thought it was broken? And then we're going to get into a whole argument about cracked versus broken. And someone's going to have to make a bad joke about your tooth. Okay.
How many times did you look out?
Can't give you an exact number of how many times I looked out. I can tell you I saw the vehicle first straight out from the front door. Then I saw it up at the flagpole, and then I saw it further up from the flagpole.
Saw it. Every time she says "sar," that's when you do the drug or the drink.
Were you studying the car at all?
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No.
What were you expecting was going to happen?
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come in?
Yeah, so I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front, so I got up, went to the door, looked out.
They're like, "Yo, Jen, what's the difference between a bit and a bite?" She's like, "Arr."
Into the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table, and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John in it? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him.
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to you before 12:30? A 7-second phone call?
From John?
Yes.
And isn't that crazy to think about? Because you're right, it still would have worked, right? But don't you think that if there was enough impact to shatter someone, so to shatter on impact from someone's body, probably the elbow or arm, enough to where it would have to go in and then get pulled out so that the flesh was ripped off and it made all those little scabbies and the little scars and the little what do you call it? The slits, the bites. Let's be honest, they're bites. In order to do that, don't you think that a light bulb would have been broken? Like, no one brings that up, right? It's kind of interesting how all the hard can withstand 90 pounds of pressure plastic shit, the polycarbonate on the outside, right? That breaks, but the really thin light bulb doesn't. That's kind of weird, huh? Kind of weird how that works.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Yes,
When the car was out front, did you exchange text messages or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
Do you remember what you were texting him?
The first time I said here,
What do you mean by here? Was that
like
exclamation
here,
point?
here question mark, because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No,
Did he ever text you again that night?
he never texted me again.
Never called again?
No.
Did you?
I think her lips are just chapped. I don't think someone's going to give that big of a behavioral tell while they're on the stand. I think the dry mouth could be because she's probably out of water because she's been sucking it down. Like, I'm
Will
sorry.
you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did, yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
I was just asking.
I had no reason to.
So
That's what I think is more like it. And see how she's biting her lip and closing her eyes like they're like, like that's pretty much saying like that's pretty much same as saying like licking her lips. You know, it's just that's a mouth thing. But a lot of these people, I mean, lips are not as big of a thing for women. Based on what I've read. I'm not gonna say behavioral tells are always accurate, but based on what I've read and studied, I'm telling you, you gotta look at the eyes. You gotta look at the legs, which we can't see, the hands, which we can't see. We can't see if she's white knuckling. We can't see if her leg is shaking. We can't see if her body's vibrating. It's not. She seems very calm, honestly. And for real, the lack of tells and the calmness with knowing what we already know and what's likely to come, that actually scares me more than any tells at all. A normal person would be relatively nervous. The fact that she's just zipping through testimony, not because I sped her up, but in general, and she seems to not be showing all those things, tells you how comfortable this bitch is in lying. And that's a bit concerning. Kind of reminds me of a certain someone who goes like this and then says a lot of stuff very calmly and with this kind of voice. They talk like this and they say really crazy things without seeming to batter an eye. Like that's the type of shit that freaks me out. That's what she's doing. That's someone who's very comfortable. Their homeostasis, their fucking status quo is lying, and they're so fucking comfortable at it that it doesn't really bother them. That's what freaks me out about her. And she got a tan.
when you were in the house, at some point, did you notice that the car was gone?
Yes.
Were you marking the time?
Tan's
or keeping
for
track?
court.
No.
After you didn't see the defendant's car anymore, did you stay?
Yes.
How long do you think you stayed for at the house?
I stayed till about around 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Did anybody else come in the house up until 1:45?
No.
Did people leave?
Yeah,
at the
but
time?
that's more of a male thing though. And they do that because sometimes it's like a gotcha and sometimes it can show like excitement, intrigue, but if it's combined with sweat and shaking, it can show like nervousness.
Yes, people did leave.
Who was the first to leave?
Brian Higgins.
Do you remember about what time he left?
I don't.
And after Mr. Higgins left, do you know who left?
I'm not sure. I believe it was us, and then my niece Caitlin was also like at the door. It was kind of in a row. Brian left, and then a little bit later, I think it was myself, Matt, Julie, and Sarah left. But Caitlin was at the door. I believe she was waiting for her ride.
How much longer after Mr. Higgins left did you leave?
Maybe half. Yeah. I honestly can't say.
See, here's the other thing I wonder about Jen. She seems like the personality type. Like if she were a dude, she'd be type A as fuck, right? She'd be like a Rogan or like someone, maybe even like a serial killer type dude. Someone who gets up every morning. They have a fucking routine. They do 50 things a day and they don't get tired. And you go, wow, you must be stealing your kids' Vyvanse. But no, a lot of the times these bitches get off on shit like Klonopin or like Xanax, like something like she'll go home and a little peep it, you know, and they're still really high strung. It's just something I see a lot of moms do that are like her. Girls I went to high school with, let's be honest. It wouldn't really surprise me, even though she seems erratic because we're going pretty fast, but her ability to be calm and psycho. I do wonder if she's on something that maybe they also slipped a call in last year. That's all I'm saying.
I think he was there for a while I was there. So maybe he left anywhere from 15 minutes, approximately 15, 20 minutes before I did, or maybe a little more.
You mentioned that you had left the waterfall after midnight,
Yes.
and you had phone calls with Mr. O'Keefe along the way.
Yes.
Do you know that there are phone records with your text messages and phone calls?
Whoa, hold on. Okay, there's a slight one. I'm going to slow this one down. That's how good it was. Let's go down to 1.5, see if we notice it. No, I'm going to go regular speed because this was kind of crazy. Let me see.
Yes.
And do you know whether your phone records reflect
my
the time
God.
of your calls?
Oh my God, that's regular speed. Holy shit. Okay, we'll just listen to when he talks about calling John.
With Mr.
Or not
O'Keefe?
listen, watch her face right here. Let me go back just a tiny bit because this is kind of crazy.
He never texted me again.
Never called again?
No,
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did. Yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why
Wait,
would
did
I?
I not go fast?
was
I don't
just
think I
asking.
went other documents.
I had no reason to.
Hold on.
Was expecting. I just sat down at the table. I started talking to them. We were listening to music.
Hold
Typical
on.
night.
It's coming up.
Anything stand out as far as music or interaction with the group?
No, we were just laughing, telling stories. At one point, I'm not sure if it
I
was
do have to
at
speed
some
up. This
point.
is too slow.
My other nephew had been over my house and had shown me this video on his phone, and it was a family inside joke. The video was a music video from a long time ago, and so I was telling my other niece and nephew, "Oh my gosh, you have to see this video! It's hysterical!" And then we started playing it and watching it.
What was the video?
It's Raining Men.
Did that get a lot of playtime during that get together?
Well, I have one sister who sometimes has a little too much
Did
to
I
drink,
pass it
takes
up
out an
again?
umbrella, and will dance. So it's a family joke.
While you were at your sister's house, what area of the house were you spending time in?
Yeah, I was in the kitchen.
What was
Okay.
the mood of everybody in the house?
Maybe it was after.
Everybody was in a great mood.
Was there any fighting?
No.
Any arguing?
No.
Any violence?
No.
Was it a celebratory mood?
Yes.
As you were in the house, were you waiting for anybody else that you expected?
I know you, Rosie. I'm back.
Yes, I was expecting John and Karen to come.
At some point when you're in the kitchen, let me ask you a little background. As you're in the kitchen of that house, can you see outside from the kitchen area?
They had blinds or something down, but if the blinds were up, you could see out.
Were the blinds up?
No.
At any point, were you able to see outside from inside the house?
From the front door, yes.
Does the front door, is it glass?
Yes.
At some point when you were with everybody in the celebration, did you have a chance to look outside?
Yes.
And when you looked outside, what did you see?
I saw a dark SUV
Oh,
out
there's
front.
the SAR.
Did you know whose SUV that was?
I went a little too far back.
I believed it was Karen's.
Could you see who was in it?
No.
At that point in night, what does the weather look like? From the
It's
front door?
fine.
It's dark
Perfect.
and it's snowing, and I could see, brake lights.
Did you
Yeah,
see
we did go too
if
far
that
back.
SUV moved at all?
We're gonna keep
I
it.
didn't see the SUV actually move, but I saw it in a few different locations.
How many times did you look
SAR
out?
again.
Can't give you an exact number of how many times I looked out. I can tell you I saw the
Oh.
vehicle first straight out from the front door. Then I saw it up at the flagpole, and then I saw it further up from the flagpole.
Were you studying the car at all?
No, it was quick glances.
Did you have any reason to study it?
No.
What were you expecting was going to happen?
I was expecting John and Karen to come into the house.
Did they ever make it in the house?
No, they did not.
As you were waiting, were you doing anything else in addition to waiting for them to come in?
Yes, so I was sitting at the table. Someone made mention of a car out front, so I got up, went to the door, looked out, and then I would go back to the table, and where we were just all laughing, talking, playing music, just hanging out, not really thinking much about anything.
Did you ever reach out to John when you thought the car out front was the defendant's car with John in it? Did you ever reach out to him?
Yes, I did.
How did you reach out to him?
I texted him
Do you know if there was a phone call that was made to
Here
you
it
before
is.
12:30? A 7-second phone call?
from John.
Yes.
I don't.
You mentioned you had spoken to him about directions. Is that the last time you heard his voice?
Here it is.
Yes,
When the car was out front, did you exchange text messages or were you simply texting him?
I was texting him.
Do you remember what you were texting him?
The first time I said here,
What do you mean by here? Was that
like
exclamation point?
hair question mark, because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No,
Did he ever text you again that night?
he never texted me again.
Never called again?
No.
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did, yes.
And so at some point, did you realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming in the house?
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
I was just asking. All right.
I had no reason to.
So when you were in the house, at some point, did you notice that the car was gone?
Yes.
Were you marking the time or keeping track of it?
No.
After you didn't see the defendant's car anymore, did you stay?
Yes.
How long do you think you stayed for at the house?
I stayed till about around 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Did anybody else come in the house up until 1:45?
No.
Did people leave at certain times?
Yes, people did leave.
Who was the first to leave?
Brian Higgins?
Do you remember about what time he left?
I don't.
And after Mr. Higgins left, do you know who left?
I'm not. I believe it was us, and then my niece Caitlin was also like at the door. It was kind of in a row. Brian left, and then a little bit later, I think it was myself, Matt, Julie, and Sarah left. But Caitlin was at the door. I believe she was waiting for her ride.
How much longer after Mr. Higgins left did you leave?
Maybe I honestly can't say. I think he was there for a while I was there. So maybe he left anywhere from 15 minutes, approximately 15, 20 minutes before I did, or maybe a little more.
You mentioned that you had left the waterfall after midnight,
Yes.
and you had phone calls with Mr. O'Keefe along the way.
Yes.
Do you know
That was weird to me. What the fuck? I want to watch that on normal speed, and then we will continue on 2 times because that tripped me out. I don't know. Is she looking at who's in the crowd? Where are we at right there? Where are we at? I don't want to go too far back. Fuck it. Maybe just a little bit. Watch her face right there.
Hair question mark, because that's when I saw the car.
You were wondering whether that was him?
Yes.
Did you send any other text messages that you can remember?
After I saw the car move locations, when I saw it go up to the flagpole, I said, pull behind me.
And do you remember any other communications you had with him? Was he texting you anything?
No,
Did he ever text you again that night?
he never texted me again.
Never called again?
No,
Did you continue to text him over the next 15, 20 minutes?
I did. Yes.
And so at some point,
I'll speed it up.
did you
God,
realize that John O'Keefe and the defendant weren't coming
I
in?
hate the live streams.
Yes, when the car was gone.
Did you ever go outside through the storm down to the flagpole to speak to them?
No.
Why not?
Why would I?
I was just asking. All right.
I had no reason to.
So when you were in the house, at some point, did you notice that car was gone?
Yes.
Were you marking the time or keeping track of it?
No.
After you didn't see the defendant's car anymore, did you stay?
Yes.
How long do you think you stayed for at the house?
I stayed till about around 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Did anybody else come in the house up until 1:45?
No.
Did people leave at certain times?
Yes, people did leave.
Who was the first to leave?
Brian Higgins.
Do you remember about what time he left?
I don't.
And after Mr. Higgins left, do you know who left?
I'm not sure. I believe it was us, and then my niece Caitlin was also like at the door. It was kind of in a row. Brian left, and then a little bit later, I think it was.
All right, here comes. Watch
Myself,
your
Matt,
face.
Julie, and Sarah left, but Caitlin was at the door. I believe she was.
They're about to ask a question about John and if she texted with him more. And watch her face. And she kind of looks off to the right, but like really watch her entire face in that moment. It fucking, especially in the context of the question, it's very odd.
Waiting for her ride.
How much longer after Mr. Higgins left did you leave?
Maybe I honestly can't say. I think he was there for a while I was there. So maybe he left anywhere from 15 minutes, approximately 15, 20 minutes before I did, or maybe a little more.
You mentioned that you had left the waterfall after midnight,
Yes.
and you had phone calls with Mr. O'Keefe along the way.
Yes.
Do you know that there are phone records?
Did you see that? Did you see it? Fuck. Did you guys see it? That was crazy.
With your text messages and phone calls in them?
Good.
Yes.
And do you know whether your phone records reflect the time of your calls with Mr. O'Keefe
Yes.
and your text messages?
Yes.
When you were texting Mr. O'Keefe, when the Lexus or the car was in front of the house, rather, was Mr. Higgins still there?
Yes.
What are some of the things that everybody did along that night before you left? What happened in there?
What happened inside the house?
Yeah.
Nothing. We basically just sat around the table, talked, laughed, listened to music, chit-chatted.
Celebratory?
Yes.
Was there ever any fighting?
No, none at all.
Any arguing?
2 times.
None at all.
Any physical interaction?
Fuck it. Here
No,
we go.
None.
When you decided to leave that night, did you say around 1:45-ish?
Yes.
When you left around 1:45, was there any events that happened that night that would cause you unrest or excitement or your heartbeat to raise?
No.
When you decided to leave, you and your husband, where were you going to go?
We were dropping off Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson, and then we were going home.
Had you planned on dropping them off earlier in the night?
No, when we got there, Julie's brother had pulled up to pick them up, and
I
we
won't
just.
ask you what was said because you weren't there.
Oh,
but
okay.
At some point, did you come to an understanding that you would give them a ride home?
Yes.
Did you offer?
Yes.
Who was going to drive home between you and your husband?
Matt drove home.
When you left, I want you to describe as you step out into the driveway or the walkway. Was the front door or side door, if you remember?
I walked out the front door.
Is the weather like it was when you first got there?
No, it's picked up.
Tell us what you mean by it's picked up.
So as I walk out, you kind of go, the walkway is to the left. So I walk down the steps, I go to the left. The snow was coming, it was cold, the wind was picking up. So I kind of just like curled up and ran to my car quick to get in.
What part of the car did you get into?
I front passenger.
Who was driving?
Matt.
And where were the other two people?
Sarah and Julie.
Curled up. Curled up. Bitch. Bitch. Is this a fucking Old Navy ad? What the fuck? Curled up? Bitch, you know you sleep upside down in a cocoon. What the fuck?
Julie were in the back seat.
Who was in what spot?
I'm not exactly sure.
So both of the young women were in the back seat?
Yes.
Was there any conversation when you got into the car?
We got in the car and they were teasing me
Why were they teasing you?
because I had like bread and maybe peanut butter in my car.
Why did you have bread and peanut butter in your car?
I had my niece for the week and I was
Because she's trying to fucking trap a nagel. Don't even act like you ain't. You ain't trying to trap a nagel. She's trying to get a 10 fucking horned nagel. She's trying to get a 10-point nagel, dude. 10 pointer. She saw it. She said, that's a buck. Oh my God, it's Julie.
I was dragging her like to all my kids' sporting events. So we'd go from like one game to another game to a practice. So sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, I'd try to throw her a peanut butter sandwich.
And they were making fun of you?
Yeah.
As the car backs out of the driveway, tell us what you're doing.
I'm talking to the girls.
You just moved your head.
Yes.
Does that mean anything?
Yes.
How?
They were both sitting behind me. So I was like turning and, chatting and talking.
After your husband pulls out of the driveway, do you start to drive home?
Yes.
If the house is on my right, and you're driving.
You goddamn well know she's one of those annoying bitches that turns around in the front seat to fucking yell at you and get all in your shit. You're trying to hide shit from mom. Dude, Jen, fuck off, dude. Dude, fuck off, you shifty-eyed bitch.
Are you in the passenger seat closest to the house or furthest away?
Passenger seat closest.
So you're driving, if you look at a picture of the house, you would be driving from right to left?
Yes.
So as you start to drive, or your husband starts to drive the car, what direction are you looking in, if you remember?
The back seat.
Did you drive by the front of the house, do you know?
We pulled out of the driveway and went up Chapman.
And your husband and you passed by the front of the house?
Yes.
Did you pass by the flagpole?
Yes.
Were you looking at the flagpole?
No.
And how dark was it at that point?
It was dark.
Snow?
Yes.
As you're passing the flagpole, do you hear or see anything remarkable?
No, I'm not really paying attention. I'm just chatting to the girls and Matt's just focusing on driving.
When you're talking to the girls and they're making fun.
That's funny. You're not paying attention because you seem to know a lot of details for a bitch you wasn't paying any attention whatsoever because you fucking were turned completely around annoying the children. Playing the game where you fucking flick peanut butter on each other and see fucking how quick Nagel can lick it off, you fucking weirdo.
What's the mood in the car?
We're all laughing and joking.
Where do you go next?
We drive Julie Nagel home.
After you drop off Snaggle, where do you go?
We drop off Sarah Levinson.
Is the weather constant?
Yes.
After you drop off the young woman in separate spots, where do you go?
We went home.
Can you tell us when you get home what happens next?
We go in the house. I go up to bed. Matt makes himself a snack and then joins me upstairs.
Do you have a telephone?
Yes.
An iPhone?
Yes.
When you go to bed, do you stay up at all?
Yes.
Do you use your iPhone?
Yes, I do.
What were you doing?
I texted a few people and then I did a couple of Google searches.
And what were the searches for?
One, my daughter had played in a basketball game earlier in the night and it was a very good game. So I went and I read the report on it. And then my other daughter had an offer to play on a basketball team. So we had to make a decision about whether or not we were going to accept the spot. So I was just looking up that basketball club.
Other than those regular searches that one would do, was there anything remarkable about what you were searching at 2:27 that time frame?
No.
After you were looking at websites for your child's sports, what did you do?
I put my phone down and went to sleep.
And up to that point, had there been any discord or fighting or arguments in your world?
No.
Peaceful night?
Yes.
Did you go to sleep, Ms. McCabe?
Yes.
Did you sleep through the night?
I typically get up to go to the bathroom, so I could have gotten up possibly to go to the bathroom.
Did anything remarkable happen in the early morning hours of January 29, 2022 that changed that peaceful mood into something else?
Yes.
Well, yes. My piss was blue. It seems that I urinated out all of my venom.
I want you to share with the jury the first thing that happens that changes everything.
At 4:53, my phone rings and I look at my caller ID.
If she's not about to say fucking, then she's lying. Because remember last time it was fucking.
I look at the phone and it's Kaylee, John's niece. John's niece.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait, what? I thought you was doing some light fucking with Matt. So you guys don't fuck now? You fucked last year, but this year no fucky? No fucky sucky with Matt? With Matt? No fucky sucky with Matt? Not right now? Not right now? Is it because you saw the nagel? Did the nagel? You see, yeah. Dude, she inked. She's a fucking squid bitch. This squid bitch inked all over the bed. She wants you to believe she butt dialed, but oh, they were fucking. Did they coordinate their fuck nights with the rest of the family? Is that why? Was it not their night? So it was Bia and Coco's night? Dude, you cannot tell me. You think Coco, you think she climbed the Brian Albert tree that night? Okay.
And I say hello. And
Hi,
she said, yeah,
Whitney.
well, basically she relayed to me that
Next question.
When you pick up the phone, could you hear a voice on the other end?
I heard a voice and a lot of screaming.
And the voice you heard, is that Kaylee, John's niece?
Yes,
And the screaming, was it a man or a woman screaming?
it was a woman.
How loud was that person screaming?
Very loud.
Could you make out anything that person was saying as they were screaming?
My name was screamed a lot. And then the other individual ended up getting on the phone with me.
And who was that
She got a Boston baked bean back. That's what Nagel got. She got a Boston baked bean bag, bitch. That's what she is.
person that was screaming in the background?
Miss Reed.
How long was she screaming for while you were speaking to your niece before you spoke to her?
The entire time I was
She
speaking
is
to
the
Kaylee,
Blue
she was
Man
screaming.
Group,
Describe
dude.
her demeanor.
Miss Reed's.
Yes.
Jen. And then she's screaming that.
Oh shit, that was funny as fuck. I wish I could just go back easily. Fuck it. I think we could do it.
Well, basically, she relayed to me that
Next question.
When you pick up the phone, could you hear a voice on the other end?
I heard a voice and a lot of screaming.
And the voice you heard, is that Kaylee, John's niece?
Yes,
And the screaming, was it a man or a woman screaming?
it was a woman.
How loud was that person screaming?
Very loud.
Could you make out anything that person was saying as they were screaming?
Howdy, howdy.
My name was screamed a lot. And then the other individual ended up getting on the phone with me.
And who's that person that was screaming in the background?
Miss Reed.
How long was she screaming for while you were speaking to your niece before you spoke to her?
The entire time I was speaking to Kaylee, she was screaming.
Describe her demeanor.
Miss Reed's.
Yes.
Jen. And then she's screaming that John didn't come home. She left him at the waterfall. She was hysterical. I was very hard to follow what she was saying.
How long did that first call last for?
I'm not sure how long, maybe possibly a few minutes, but it was loud enough and long enough that my husband shot up in bed, thinking one of my kids had come in the room screaming.
He shot up in bed. Blue tops or yellow tops? Heroin? Meth? What did he shoot up? Be honest, Jen.
Without saying what your niece said, could you describe your niece's demeanor when you first spoke to her? I mean, John's niece's demeanor.
I would say Kaylee sounds concerned, uneasy.
During that phone call, other than the screaming and the screaming of your name, did the defendant give you any information other than she had dropped John off at the waterfall?
They'd gotten into a fight. She had left him there and he didn't come home.
And when you were woken up, were you in sleep when you were woken up?
Yes, I was sound asleep.
What was your mental state like when you first woke up and got that call?
Well, I had been up late. I had taken my medication that I take for my MS, so I was definitely a bit groggy when I first woke up. So immediately I just wanted to help her. She was hysterical. Kaylee was upset. So I went into that kind of mom mode of what can I do? How can I help? So I immediately was like thinking, okay, well, if you left him at the waterfall, let me think who was still there, or, you know, how can I help you? How can we find John?
Did you have a plan when you ended that first call?
I did. I knew Chris Albert had still been at the waterfall when I left. So I thought if Karen and John had gotten into a fight, maybe Chris had walked out of the bar and Chris was local to the bar. So maybe they walked back to Chris's together.
So what did you do?
Oh shit.
So I called Chris Albert's wife, Julie.
Did you speak to her?
Yeah,
No, she never answered.
After you had a moment to make a phone call and think about things, did your head become any more clear?
That peanut butter was stuck in a CPAP. She's pretending it was in the back seat.
Did, and I was, reminded by my husband that we had seen Karen and John's car outside of Fairview.
When he reminded you, did you independently remember the text messages that you sent to John earlier that evening?
Immediately, I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Did you remember that you had seen what you believed to be the defendant's car in front of the house in the other cycle?
Watch the form.
Okay. What did you remember? What came to mind after you spoke to your husband about your memory from earlier that evening?
The minute he said it, I remember seeing the SUV and then all the text messages that I had and the phone conversation with John.
So after the defendant spoke to you and said she had left,
Yo, I'm not even fucking around right now. She looks like Marcus with a wig, dude. Oh my God. What if these are the felonies Marcus was talking about? Oh my God, it all makes sense now. Marcus McCabe.
left the defendant at the waterfall and you had time to think about your memories, did you react or do anything with that?
Yes, I believe I called Kaylee back.
Why did you call Kaylee?
I didn't have Miss Reed's phone number.
When you called Kaylee back, did you speak to anybody?
Yes, I believe Kaylee and then Miss Reed.
When you first spoke to Kaylee, could you hear anything other than Kaylee?
The screaming,
Was it any different or was it similar to the first time you spoke by phone?
similar to the first time.
Regarding the demeanor or intensity, had it changed at all?
Not at all.
You mentioned the first time that you had that phone call, the defendant was screaming your name. Jen,
Yes.
Jen. Was she saying your name in the second call or was it just general screaming?
My name. And then when she got on the phone, I had told her, Karen, I saw you guys outside of my sister's house. And then she told me she didn't remember being there. And then she went on to say, she started saying, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I don't. And then she just was just all over the place, like screaming my name, screaming so many different things. She was hard to follow or understand.
When she was saying to you, did I hit him? Could have I hit him? Was that before or after you informed her that you had seen her out front of your sister's house?
It was after I told her that. She also informed me that she had cracked her taillight.
In that conversation, she told you that?
In one of the conversations I had with her in my bedroom, yes.
When you told her that you had seen her out front, she had said that she didn't remember that night. Was that before or after she was saying, did I hit him? Could have I hit him?
Can you repeat the question?
So
Sorry.
she was telling you about that she didn't remember that night. Was that before or after you had told her about?
Dude, think about it. Think about it. What does Marcus do? He gets in the golf cart and then what does he do? He runs over Fredrickson and he doesn't give a fuck. And he drives away with his big friend, just like she did with the Nagel. And they ran over John, I bet. John is Fredrickson, an innocent. And they stole his toy.
About seeing her car.
When I said I saw her at Fairview, then her response was she didn't even remember going there.
Did she ever deny that she came to Mr. O'Keefe?
Jen, you can't tell me she's not in debt to the cartel. They have a sex club in the basement. They definitely do drugs and lie about it. I was working on the computer. We know what you were doing. You were doing DMT with Matt, aka Shabama Bob.
house? I mean, to your sister's house?
No.
When she told you or said to you, did I hit him or could have I hit him or something like that, did you have any idea what she was talking about?
No, I didn't pay attention to it.
When she told you that she had cracked her taillight the night before, did that have any significance at that time to you?
No.
So in telling you these different things, did you ever piece them together at that time?
No.
What was your primary motivation at that point?
Think about it, dude. The Gators and there's a race war going on that's so Boston. But then the Gators and the Lobsters are racist. The Lobsters are the most racist, and they're basically the mafia. Okay. You see where I'm going? So that's the McAlberts and them. Okay. This is all starting to come together. It's really starting to make sense. I see the vibration, and I think I'm on it.
I just wanted to help her because she was hysterical. Kaylee was very upset, so I wanted to help her, and I wanted to find John.
I just wanted to find Jim Bob.
These things about whether she could have hit her and
Jimbo Jones.
the light and not remembering. Did the conversation end or did it progress?
At some point, I was then going into like, okay, well, if she brought him there and left him there, where was he? Because he never came in the house, and she doesn't know where he is. So now, where could he be? So I started thinking there was another gentleman that was supposed to meet us out at the bar who John was friends with. So I thought, okay, well, in my head, I'm thinking maybe they got into a fight. John got out of the car, and he connected with this guy because he was at a party on the street.
What was that person's name?
His name is Tom Beatty.
Did you call him?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to speak to him that night?
That morning?
Yes.
No.
Did you call around anywhere else?
I believe I called my sister. I called John. I called Tom Beatty. I called his daughter.
You called John O'Keefe's phone?
Yes.
Did he answer?
No.
Did it go like a voicemail?
I don't remember.
Did you text anybody?
I honestly don't remember if I texted. I primarily think I was just trying to call as many people as I could and try to figure out what happened.
So you had two conversations at this point with the defendant while you were still home.
Yes.
Was there any further phone calls that you had before you did something?
I'm not sure. I know I went downstairs to make coffee because my plan was to go with my husband. I said, come on, let's just go over to Tom Beatty's. Let's see. Maybe John's there. He passed it on the couch. I'm not sure if Karen called me again or not. It's a little foggy because there was so many calls and everything.
And so that morning when you were receiving calls, did something happen?
Karen showed up at my house.
How did you know Karen showed up at your house?
I could hear her screaming out front.
And about what time is this?
Approximately 5:20, 5:30. I can't be
Were
sure.
you worried for John at this point?
Not particularly, no.
Were you screaming?
No.
Now at this moment when you hear her outside of your house yelling, early morning hours, did you know a person by the name of Carrie Roberts?
I knew of her. I'd met her once.
Were you friends with her at that time?
No.
Had you socialized with her at that time?
No.
Had you ever seen her before with John?
Once.
Tell me about that.
Years earlier, as I said earlier, I used to take Kaylee on Friday nights, and Carrie was the one who would take Patrick on Friday nights. So we would each have the kids. And to thank us, one day John told us how he got a discount at Reebok and to get our kids shoe sizes, and he was going to buy us all sneakers, just as a way to say thank you for helping. So we all went to the store together, and then John took Carrie and myself to the hillside for lunch.
How many years before this moment was that?
Oh gosh. Well, I think that's when my daughter was in kindergarten or first grade, and at this point she was in 8th grade. So like 7 years.
Had you ever spent any other time with Carrie Roberts before this morning?
No.
Were you friends at that point?
No.
How would you consider your relationship with Miss Roberts on that morning when Miss Reed arrived to your home?
I had met her once, and that was the extent of it. I wouldn't say I knew her at all beyond that one time I went out with her.
I want you to take us back now to when you first hear the defendant in your driveway yelling. When you hear that, do you hear any words or is it general yelling?
So I hear her yelling. So I was downstairs making coffee. I go to my front door and I open it, and she's screaming, Jen, Jen. She's screaming that 3 times, and then she was saying, we have to go to Fairview. A lot of the could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
Okay. There's a big behavioral tell. First of all, she said 3 times while she mimicked it doing it twice. And then she rubbed the back of her neck right after she said that shit. Now I'm going to be a little bitch. I'm going to be a little behavioral bitch. Watch this.
Oh gosh. Well, I think that's when my daughter was in kindergarten or first grade. And
oh shucks. Oh shnikes. Oh jinxies. What are we going to do, guys? It looks like there's a guy dead on the lawn. Oh, I don't know.
At this point, she was in 8th grade. So like 7 years.
Had you ever spent any other time?
Ruh-roh, maybe we could have some White Claw. Somebody, Jinkies, will you take Chloe into the woods and shoot her?
With Carrie Roberts before this morning?
No.
Were you friends at that point?
No.
How would you consider your relationship with Miss Roberts on that morning when Miss Reed arrived to your home?
I had met her once, and that was the extent of it. I wouldn't say I knew her at all beyond that one time I went out with her.
I want you to take us back now to when you first hear the defendant in your driveway yelling. When you hear that, do you hear any words or is it general yelling?
So I hear her yelling. So I was downstairs making coffee. I go to my front door and I open it, and she's screaming, Jen. She's screaming that 3 times, and then she was saying, we have to go to Fairview. A lot of the could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
You see that? We have to go to Fairview. What was that? What was that you did right after that?
How he got a discount. Told us how he got a discount at Reebok and to get our kids shoe sizes, and he was going to buy us all sneakers, just as a way to say thank you for helping. So we all went to the store together, and then John took Carrie and myself to the hillside for lunch.
How many years before this moment was that?
Oh gosh. Well, I think that's when my daughter was in kindergarten or first grade, and at this point she was in 8th grade. So like 7 years.
Had you ever spent any other time with Carrie Roberts before this morning?
No.
Were you friends at that point?
No.
How would you consider your relationship with Miss Roberts on that morning when Miss Reed arrived to your home?
I had met her once, and that was the extent of it. I wouldn't say I knew her at all beyond that one time I went out with her.
I want you to take us back now to when you first hear the defendant in your driveway yelling.
That's kind of funny. Then how did you know that she was just a talker? If you didn't know her, how would you know she's a talker? That's kind of weird.
When you hear that, do you hear any words or is it general yelling?
So I hear yelling. So I was downstairs making coffee. I go to my front door and I open it, and she's screaming, Jen, Jen.
Right here.
She's screaming that 3 times. And then she was saying,
she's screaming that 3 times. She did it twice. Okay, now watch this move. She's saying this. So she says, she said it 3 times as she mimics it twice. Jen, Jen. She said it 3 times. Okay, then why didn't you fucking say it 3 times? And then she goes, as if she's thinking of the next lie or thing to say, maybe. Let's just be fair. But watch what she says and what she does right after.
we have to go to Fairview. A lot of the could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Just she was on repeat.
What did you do?
My husband came running down the hall and was like, tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the neighbors. And then I said, I'm just going to go with her. I'm going to go look for John. And then he yelled down saying something like, you can't be driving around in this weather, with a broken taillight.
When you saw the defendant at your front door, had the weather changed overnight?
Yes.
And yet there she goes, there the tooth goes, there the tooth goes again. Matt just let them go. Wow. What a great dude.
Was it different?
Yes. Now the snow had intensified. It was almost like it was dark outside, but it was like whiteout conditions.
How dark?
No, hey, let me go help. Look for this dead guy at night in a blizzard. Hey, let me go help you. Maybe I could shovel up some snow for you, bitches. Nope. None of that. Just go on, Jen. Do your thing.
Yeah. It was dark. It was like 5:30 in the morning.
What was the visibility like?
Not good.
After you meet the defendant at your door, do you let her in or does she stay outside?
I'm not sure if I just grabbed my coffee and ran out or whether she came in. So we went down my walkway. She was just kind of running all around. The driver's door was open. So I told her I was going to drive because I thought she was too.
I'm sorry. You made coffee? Interesting.
Hysterical to drive. In the meantime, all of a sudden there was a car at the end of my street and there was a plow behind it.
The car that came to the end of your street, do you know where it went?
I meant the end of my driveway. I'm sorry.
When you say at the end of your driveway, did it pull into your driveway?
No, it just kind of stopped right at the base of my driveway.
Okay. How far behind your car was that car?
Not far, because not too far.
Okay. Did you know who was in that car?
No.
Did you learn who was in that car?
Yes.
How did you learn who was in the car?
Because I said, who is that?
Did you ask the defendant or did you walk up?
I asked the defendant and she told me it was Carrie Roberts.
Did you meet Carrie Roberts face to face in your driveway that morning?
Yes, I wouldn't say we met. It was more of a, the plow was coming, so then she was having to like move down the street. And then either Karen called her or she called Karen, but they were on the phone, Karen's phone over the car. So they started talking.
Did you get into the defendant's car?
Yes, we did. I got in the car with Miss Reed.
When you got in the car, you were in the driver's seat. Was Miss Reed in the passenger front?
Yes.
You said it was an open call. Is this something you could hear on a speaker?
Yes.
At that point, had you had a chance to go and look at the taillight of that car?
No.
Did you have any interest in the taillight at that point?
No.
There was an open call between who?
Karen and Carrie Roberts.
Can you describe what you heard in that call?
Karen was saying that she wanted to go to Fairview, and Carrie Roberts was instructing her that no, we weren't going to be going to Fairview, and she kept saying we got to go to your sister's house. And Carrie Roberts said, no, we're not going to be driving around in this weather in 2 cars. Let's go back to John's. Let's go to Meadows. Let's go see if he's there. That was kind of the conversation. And then Karen was doing a lot of screaming, and Carrie was kind of yelling back at her to shut up.
Who was taking charge of the situation that morning?
Carrie Roberts.
Were you in charge of it?
No.
Did you weigh in or make any decisions on where you were going to go next, or were you just a listener?
I just listened. Carrie said that Carrie's kind of a take charge person. She said, we're going to Meadows. So
Did she call her tick-tarded? Hold on. If she did, I like Jen now and she's my hero and I believe everything she says. But if she didn't, damn, that would have been cool.
Who was in that car?
No.
Did you learn who was in that car?
Yes.
How did you learn who was in the car?
Because I said, who is that?
Did you ask the defendant or did you walk
I
up?
asked the defendant, and she told me it was Carrie Roberts.
Did you meet Carrie Roberts face to face in your driveway that morning?
Yes, I wouldn't say we met. It was more of a, the plow was coming, so then she was having to like move down the street. And then either Karen called her or she called Karen, but they were on the phone, Karen's phone over the car. So they started talking.
Did you get into the defendant's car?
Yes, we did. I got in the car with Miss Reed.
When you got in the car, you were in the driver's seat. Was Miss Reed in the passenger front?
Yes.
You said it was an open call. Is this something you could hear on a speaker?
Yes.
At that point, had you had a chance to go and look at the taillight of that car?
No.
Did you have any interest in the taillight at that point?
No.
There was an open call between who?
Karen and Kerry Roberts.
Can you describe what you heard in that call?
Karen was saying that she wanted to go to Fairview, and Kerry Roberts was instructing her that no, we weren't going to be going to Fairview, and she kept saying, we got to go to your sister's house. And Kerry Roberts said, no, we're not going to be driving around in this weather in 2 cars. Let's go back to John's. Let's go to Meadows. Let's go see if he's there. That was kind of the conversation. And then Karen was doing a lot of screaming, and Kerry was kind of yelling back at her to shut up.
Who was taking charge of the situation that morning?
Kerry Roberts.
Were you in charge of it?
No.
Did you weigh in or make any decisions on where you were going to go next, or were you just a listener?
I just listened. Kerry said that Kerry's kind of a take charge person. She said, we're going to Meadows. So I said,
Take charge. Okay, that makes sense. I really thought she called her tick-tarded. I don't know. I'm sorry.
okay. I drove to Meadows.
Now, at this point, you didn't know Kerry Roberts other
No.
than that meeting,
Yes, correct.
and you agreed to follow her?
Yes.
So tell us what happens. Take us through the drive.
She might have followed me. I'm not sure, but we,
Oh, I thought she took charge. And you were certainly not in the lead. So now you're saying she followed you. Oh, she may have followed me. Oh. Bitch.
we drove back to Meadows, pulled into the driveway.
So you knew where Meadows was. You had been there many times for the kids.
Yes.
You think Miss Roberts may have followed you?
Yes.
What was the weather conditions as you were driving?
They were awful. It was, I was driving very slow, cautiously. It was dark. It was hard to see. It was that type where the snow is like coming at your window.
How long of a ride was it from your home to John's home?
Approximately 5-6 minutes.
Was there any other phone calls while you were in the car with Miss Roberts, or did the phone calls end?
I believe that was it.
Can you describe the defendant's demeanor on the trip from your house to John's house?
She was just screaming, yelling things. It was almost like everything she said 3 times. And she just went from one thing to the next. She was quite hysterical.
Do you remember what she was yelling about?
About going to Fairview, asking, could she have hit him? Did I hit him?
How many times did she raise the question, did I hit him? Could have I hit him?
A good amount.
Did you ever speak to her about that?
No.
At some point, did you finally get to John's home?
Yes,
When you got to John's home, who pulled in the driveway first?
I did.
Where did you pull in respect to the driveway?
I just pulled straight in next to the garage.
Did you see where Miss Roberts went?
I believe she pulled in behind me.
After you pulled into Meadows, John's home, and you stopped, what happened next?
We go into John's house.
When you went to John's house, did you all go in the same way?
Yes, we went through the garage.
And before going into John's home, did you do anything?
Before entering into the house,
Yes.
I took off my shoes.
You took off your shoes?
Yes,
Why did you do that?
because you always had to take your shoes off at John's. He didn't want you to track. He would have yelled at me for tracking snow in his house.
Did you see if Kerry took her shoes off or not?
I believe she did.
Did you see whether the defendant took her shoes off or not?
She just walked right in
How would you remember that?
because I thought it was strange.
What was your purpose when you went into the house? What was the number one thing that you were worried about?
We were looking for John.
Anything else on your mind when you went into his house?
Also, I knew Kaylee was there.
Now, at this point, did you have a close relationship with Kaylee?
Yes,
Do you still?
yes.
What did you do when you went in the house? Where did you go?
I walked through the kitchen, and then I kind of peeked into the TV room. I walked through the dining room, and then before I went up,
They're trying to plant the seed that Karen already knew he was dead. So that's why she had no problem wearing shoes in the house, because she knew that he wouldn't be alive to yell at her later. I can already see where this is going. And nice try, assholes. She is panicking. You guys are casually sipping your coffee and ready to chill, apparently, even though a woman is panicking and these kids' dad, who is your friend, aka their uncle, their temp dad, is possibly missing outside, and she's telling you this. And you're casually taking your shoe. I think this could look bad for you too. Yikes.
up the stairs, I kind of peeked into a living room. I went up to the top of the stairs. I peeked into John's room.
Also, weak argument. And also, he's not here to attest to that. And also, they didn't even ask Peg about it. So, like, nice try, bitches.
And I went into Kaylee's room.
Did you ever see John?
No,
Why did you go to Kaylee's room?
because I wanted to go check on Kaylee.
Did you have a chance to speak to her?
I did, yes.
What was her demeanor at that point?
She was very, she was in the bed. She was holding on to her phone. She was terrified.
Was she screaming?
No.
Did you provide her any comfort?
Yes. I told her that I was going to go out. I told Kaylee that I was going to go out with them and I was going to find John. And I promised her that everything would be okay.
At some point you left Kaylee?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I went back downstairs and then we went out to look for John.
Before you left,
Yo, fuck Jen McCabe. Listen, Rock Chalk. Rock Chalk has twin identical grand baby boys. 1 week old, dude. Congrats, Rock Chalk. Yo, that's sick. Dude, you got twins in your family. I love twins, dude. That's so wild. Can you tell them apart yet? You'll grow into it. You'll figure it out. They'll grow into it. You'll figure it out. Right now, they're just two little sweet little beans. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Do they look like you? Do they look like you? Who do they look like? Who do they look like in your family? The kiddos, you, people, who do they look like? Let me know. Let me know. Sound off in the comments. Rock Chalk is a Mimi to a pair of twins.
John's house that morning, did the defendant show you anything?
Yes. When we were out in the driveway, I had thought it was when we went in, but I think it might have been when we came out. But regardless, at one point when we were in the driveway at Meadows, Karen showed myself and Kerry Roberts the cracked taillight.
Did you or Miss Roberts get close to the taillight at that point?
Yes, we walked over and the taillight was missing pieces.
Did Miss Roberts have any comment about it?
Yes, Miss Roberts.
So she had a comment.
What was Miss Roberts' demeanor at that point?
She was frustrated with Karen, had said that, had said that Karen basically was telling her to shut up. You were so drunk. You could have hit anything last night. And then Kerry, I remember just thinking, all right, let's go. And I remember Kerry thinking, oh,
Well,
someone's
let me
going to
not ask
get,
you what Kerry-
oh, sorry.
We don't want to think what somebody thought.
Okay.
I want to know what you heard and what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. At some point when you were looking at the taillight with missing pieces with the defendant and Miss Roberts, did you see Miss Roberts point anything out?
Yes.
Share that with us.
She pointed a piece that was sticking out and was concerned that someone was going to catch their coat or something on it.
And during that time when the defendant is showing you the taillight with missing pieces, was she saying anything about it?
No, I don't. Not that I can recall right now.
You mentioned at some point she was saying, did I or could I have hit him after you left John's house? Was that in the car or before you got in the car?
I know for a fact it was definitely in the car, was one of the times. Yes.
Now, Miss Roberts' car is parked behind the defendant's car in John's driveway.
Yes.
Was there a decision made to take one or two cars?
One car.
What was the plan?
The plan was to get into Carrie's car and to go and look for John. I wanted to go thinking, let's go to Tom Beatty's, but Miss Reed was pretty adamant that we go to Fairview first.
You said that at times there was some arguing or bickering, or Miss Roberts was raising her voice to the defendant.
Yes.
Who made the decision to go to Fairview?
Ultimately, Carrie said, all right, we'll go there, almost like to shut her up.
When you got in the
What about the whole part where she said that we have to go back to the bar and you put it in her head by saying, but the last place I saw you, Karen, the last place I saw you, the last place I saw you was 34 Fairview, hon. You were dropping John off, remember? Funny how everyone finds out everything that happened from Jen directly, even Karen that night. By God, it's almost like she's Philip Seymour Hoffman in the Hunger Games. Cause this bitch needs a burger, am I right? Pew, 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 lasers. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
the car, where was everybody? When you got into Kerry Roberts' car, where was
Yes.
everybody sitting?
Carrie was driving. I was in the front and passenger. Karen was in the back, in the middle, kind of peeking her head through between us.
I want you to take us through the ride from John's house at Meadows until you first get to Fairview. So as you pull out of, or Carrie Roberts pulls out of John's driveway, what is the mood inside that car?
I'd say it was starting to get tense because Karen was just continuously screaming. Carrie was trying to focus on driving, and Karen's behavior in the back of the car was a bit erratic.
When you say erratic, can you just give some detail what you mean by that?
Yes, she would go from sitting back to leaning up in between us, and she would yell Carrie's name 3 times. Then she would yell my name's three times, and then she would yell, "Could I hit him? Did I hit him?" Over and over again.
When she was repeating these questions or phrases that she was yelling, did you respond in any way?
I don't believe I did. No.
How about Carrie?
Carrie was telling her to shut up and to buckle up.
Was she buckled?
I don't believe so.
You began your drive from Mr. O'Keefe's home at Meadows to Fairview. Is the weather getting better?
No, it's getting worse.
Is the visibility still difficult?
It was terrible.
As you began that drive to Fairview, was there anything that you were doing on the way?
Yes, I was just kind of looking out the window intently to see if I saw anything.
What were you looking for?
I guess John, which I know it sounds crazy, but I didn't know where the hell he was.
Did you have any difficulty seeing from the car the side of the road?
Yes.
Did you see what direction Ms. Roberts was looking when she was driving?
Well, she, it was hard because she needed to focus on driving because the conditions were that bad.
Did you have a chance to see the defendant on that drive at all?
Yes.
Was she looking out the windows with you?
No, she was popping back and forth and screaming.
Was it constant screaming, or did it change at all?
She would scream and then kind of sit back, and she'd almost be like quiet for a minute. It was like, okay, good. And then she'd start again.
In those quiet times, do you know what, if anything, she was doing?
I didn't know what she was doing that morning, no.
How long did it take to get to Fairview?
I don't know. I'm going to assume maybe 10 minutes, like with the weather, maybe 10 minutes. I'm not, give or take approximately.
As you're approaching 34 Fairview Road, before you get there, is Fairview going to be on your left side, driver's side, or on the right side?
As we're pulling up, it's on the driver's side. Carrie's going to take a left down Fairview off of Chapman.
I want you to take us back to that morning, about 20 or 30 yards before you get to Fairview.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the car with Ms. Roberts and the defendant?
Yes.
What's happening in the car?
Karen's is screaming, and at that point, she had asked if John could be cheating on her and if John could be with Bella's mom.
And then what happens?
I just didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I was like, what are you talking about? Why would he be with Bella's mom? And then Carrie said, well, do you think he could have walked to, there was another woman years before that John had dated who lived on the next street over to her house.
And as you approach that area before you get to the flagpole, does anything remarkable happen?
No.
Okay. What happens next?
As we're driving down the street, I just say to Carrie, because she doesn't know where my sister lives, oh, her house is just at the bottom of the street.
Visibility still difficult?
Yes, awful.
What happens next?
We continue, driving, and we're driving slowly past, the line of, I guess, bushes and the flagpole area. And all of a sudden, Karen's screaming from the back, there he is, or something to the effect of, there he is, let me out.
Did you know what she was talking about?
I had no idea.
When she was yelling that, did you look out the window?
Yeah, we had our eyes peeled out the window.
Did you see anything?
Nothing but snow.
How long was she yelling about whatever it is she was saying?
Carrie, she screamed, stop. So Carrie stopped pretty quickly. There he is. She could have kicked the door, like, let me out of here.
When she was kicking the door, what were you doing?
I was just like, what the heck? What is going on?
What happens next?
She gets out. Carrie looks at me and said something. I said, like, she's batshit crazy.
Then what happens?
Then Carrie got out. Then I got out of the car, walked around the back of the car, and was walking like over to where I could see the girls were.
Now, at that point, you were in Carrie Roberts' car.
Yes.
It had its headlights on.
Yes.
Was it facing up the street of Fairview?
Well, we had come down the hill, so yes, up the street.
There was no other lighting in that area?
I do not believe so.
No fire engines or ambulances at that point?
No.
No police cars?
No.
Any street lights?
It was dark.
When you got out of the car, did you look towards the area of the flagpole?
Yes.
Could you see anything at that point?
No.
How close did you get to the area of the flagpole before you could first actually see something?
Well, I saw the shadowy figures of Carrie and Karen, and it wasn't until I got very close over to them that I saw Kerry removing the snow from John's face.
Is that the first moment you realized that was John O'Keefe on the ground?
Yes, it was.
When you see Kerry removing the snow from John's face, what do you do?
I was frozen. I was shocked. I couldn't believe that was him just lying there. Yeah.
Tell us what you're seeing.
What do I see? I see Kerry just wiping the snow off. Karen had straddled him and had lifted her shirt and his shirt and was laying on him, and Kerry was screaming at her to get off of him. And I was literally just stunned, and there he was.
What did John look like when you saw him?
I couldn't see much but his face, because the rest was snow and Karen was moving over him, but he just looked like just him, but just like frozen.
What did you do?
At first, I just stood there for a minute because I couldn't believe it was him. And then Kerry Roberts and I made eye contact, and I knew. I was like, all right, I'm going to call 911. But I think I knew in that moment that John, was dead.
Did you call 911?
Yeah, I started to call 911, and Kerry and Karen were just screaming. And so I walked back towards Kerry's car, and then Kerry was also yelling at me to go to the back of the car to look for blankets and towels. So as I was calling 911, I was at the back of the car looking for the towels and the blankets to bring over to Kerry. And while I was doing that, I believe 911 answered.
Did you speak to 911?
I did, yes.
Did you get the towels and blankets that Kerry had requested?
I did, yes.
After your phone call with 911, and you had the towels and blankets, tell us what happens next.
So after I called 911, I went back over to Kerry, Karen, and John. And at that point, Kerry asked if I would take over compressions. So she got up, and I started doing compressions, and Karen was doing mouth to mouth.
When you started doing compressions, were you touching John over his clothes or touching his skin?
I don't remember.
Did you at that point get a chance to touch John's body and see how it felt temperature-wise?
I just remember when I was doing the compressions, I don't really know how to explain it. It just felt very funny.
I'm sorry, very
It
what?
just wasn't like normal.
What?
I can't think of how to describe the way it felt when I was trying to press down, but it was like resistance.
How long did you try to give compressions and give aid to John for?
Until the police came.
Mr. Brennan, why don't we end here?
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kevin, we need you back tomorrow. Because
Damn, dude.
Jurors, that's it for today. I have to give you the same cautions. Please do
Well,
not
goddamn.
discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into this
Oh my
case.
God, when you put it at regular
Have
speed,
you
it's
read
so
anything
slow.
about this case, please disregard it and let us know. And again, please be very careful with your social media. All right, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Everybody do a stretch. Oh, Jesus. I'm doing one now. My legs feel broken. Oh, fuck.
Goodbye.
Oh, goodbye, bitch. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. I feel you, fan. I feel you, dude. Spread your fucking fan blades and fly. All right. Hold on one second. Dad's got to stretch. Everybody do a little stretch. Everybody do your squirms. Do your stretches. Thank you, Wendy, for the $1.49 super sticker. I fucking love ya.
Can we close the doors, please?
As a thank you, I present to you, Judge Beverly. Oh, are we still gonna fucking go? Jesus Christ. Hey, fuck it. Whew, let me shadow box a little bit. Okay. Let's do this. We can keep going for Beverly. If Beverly could do it every day, we could do it. One day.
So I know it's shifting gears, but I want to address, I said I'd hear you today on the argument on the Arkham motion. Mr. Brennan, do you need a minute or can you?
Fuck my goddamn motherfucking face. Okay, first of all, are we still hearing the Arca shit? Why are we still hearing the Arca shit? Nobody wants to hear the fucking Arca shit. We've already heard the Arca shit. We've heard the Arca shit. We don't need to hear it again. They were in the last trial. Just let them in. Just let them in. Okay? Fuck, Bev. God damn it. I guess that's what we're going to do. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Wendy. There's a me MPS down in the snow. dude, she makes me want to puke. Okay. She makes me want to puke just because she looks very sunburnt and crazy. Exactly, Reggie. Fake cry, so fake, very fake. No fakey, no cry. No wonder Carrie doesn't have any friends. Oh, well, she has that one gay guy that was with her in that interview, right? Noel. Thank you for the 19.99 super chat, Noel. We will spend it on the Alf sex line. Also, I have to tell you something. Rock Chalk, she's a grandma to twins now. We got twins in the cult. We got twins in the squad. Auto twins because Rock Chalk is genetically related to them. So therefore, as her and Mimi, we encapsulate the twins as part of the squad, aka the cult. They're like our Simbas. Rock Chalk, I asked that one day you hold them up in the sky and take a picture. I guess we're gonna find out. Thank you so much, Nicole. And I guess we're gonna find out. I'm sorry, Noel. I'm having a hard time reading. I guess we're gonna find out what's gonna fucking happen with these motions. If Bev denies them, I'll cut my tits off. Let's go.
We'll argue that.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was looking at my notebook. What issue would you like to address?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was drawing Stussy asses and penises in my notebook. Could you fucking remind me what the fuck we were doing? That's what Hank Brennan just said.
Motion yesterday. We had the motion. I told you that I would hear you on argument, and it's very brief. 10 minutes, please.
Your Honor, before we begin, my client needed to use the restroom.
That's
Oh, I didn't notice she wasn't here.
Yes,
Okay,
She could just have 5 minutes. She'll be right back.
sure.
oh, Karen had to
All right,
pick it up.
5 minutes.
Everyone get up. Oh shit, does this mean we're gonna be caught up? Oh my god. Yes, we get to skip. Yes. Good.
To the court.
Oh fuck, it's Hank still. God damn.
Mr. Brennan, I'll hear you.
Okay, here we go. Here we
Your
go.
Honor, in light of yesterday's hearing with the ARCA witnesses, the Commonwealth is going to ask the court to preclude the ARCA witnesses from testifying both about any new testing and any new opinions.
Hello,
And secondly,
STK.
testifying about their original opinions turned over in a report prior to last year's trial. To be brief, what we learned or confirmed
Their opinions didn't change though, so and
is
also it's
that
not their opinions really. It's the report. It's after a series of tests. It's just the results of the report, sir. You fuckface.
we do not have all of the discovery of communications. There was a court order for the ARCA witnesses to provide Your Honor with all of their information, phone records, text messages, communications about this case. Instead of providing their information to the court, they instead chose to send it to the defense, and then it was summarized and provided by the defense to the court and to the Commonwealth. It appears to me that is not in compliance with the court's order. What we learned during the hearing yesterday is that Dr. Wolf admittedly destroyed phone carriers, but then later admitted that he actually intentionally, for no apparent reason, destroyed the text messages in this case. And so what is left for Your Honor to look at is a summary of phone records from the defense and ARCA's information that is passed through the defense to the court.
Oh my God.
You do not have the text messages. You do not have the content of the text messages. There is no summary of the conversations, dozens and dozens of calls between the defense and the experts. It is difficult to believe that all of those text messages and all of those phone conversations,
Motherfucking fool, where are all your text messages and all your conversations with Ian Whifflebat?
dealt with simply logistics. In fact, we later learned during the questioning of Dr. Rentschler, there is much more involved than simply logistics. But to get back to Dr. Wolf, he did not disclose to the court that he was communicating and having
You
conversations
better
on
fucking
Signal.
cry. I
How
hope you
odd.
fucking cried.
An expert using Signal. Never used it before. Dr. Rentschler said would not use Signal, never use Signal. But Signal, as we know, is an application that does not create a record of communications.
I need to find Nick Rocco in this.
Dr. Wolf maintained on his direct that
Oh,
everything
shit,
he did
thank
was
you, man.
logistics, even
Oh
when
shit,
we showed
for the
him
$4.99.
the direct examinations with
I
the
will.
comments that asked for input from the defense
Thank you for, oh my
to questions in
God.
a way advantageous to the defense.
Dude,
and
what
to
if Cash
warrant
App causes nodes? What if they know? What if they're like, oh no, that has success. We must ascend a node. Thank you so much, Mia. You're the best. I love you. Death Bitch.
the Commonwealth? Dr.
No,
Wolf
Death Bitch
actually
is a
still
cool name for a band.
continued to testify
It is
that that was
crazy. It
simply
is crazy.
procedure in logistics,
He's a crybaby.
never admitting the fact that there was in fact conversations or information
Also, Mia,
exchanged
we
about
will spend that on the Alf sex hotline unless we can find a Marcus one. Then we will reallocate funds.
bettering the presentation for the defense.
Yeah,
Inevitably, I asked him about the sequestration order and how evasive he was. You simply have to compare him to Dr. Rensselaer, who was quite candid. An hour or 45 minutes with Dr. Wolf.
That's a good fucking point. Yo, you know what Alan Jackson should do? He should walk up to Hank and snap his phone in half and go, I'm gonna run to a military base. I'll be right back real quick, and then you can have whatever's left.
Difficult getting a straight answer. Dr. Rensselaer told us more in 5 minutes than Dr. Wolf told us his entire examination. And what we unfortunately learned is that during the trial,
That's not true.
when this court had a sequestration order, information was being passed to the experts about witness testimony, in this case, unknown to the Commonwealth, unknown to the court, information, particular information, not general information, witness testimony, issues in the case. We have no idea who is deciding or identifying the issues and who is.
Yeah, he was. And who was it that doxed Dr. Wolf's wife by showing off what she looks like? Oh, yeah, Jen Coffendorfer. By the way, there's her husband. That's what he looks like.
The advantage is given to in describing those issues.
Get a
But
good
that
look.
is witnesses being prepped through an intermediary. So we know the Department of Justice, at least, is violating the order, helping the witnesses along, and then they testify unbeknownst to the Commonwealth that they have this information, but obviously is reflected in the testimony. In addition, I provided some clips to Your Honor for review.
Yes, do you want me to mark these as an exhibit?
I do.
Okay, so this was an exhibit from yesterday. I did have the opportunity to look at them.
I suggest that the relationship was not resigned to mere logistics. And so from that subterfuge, what we stand with today is that we know that the witnesses were well prepared. We know that there was not true independence. And what we know is that they are refusing to provide the necessary information to support their original opinions that they gave at the first trial. They cited that it was a protective order. Perhaps it is. That has nothing to do with the issue. By calling the ARCA witnesses as their witnesses, they then have the obligation to comply with Rule 14. Unlike the first trial, where the Commonwealth had no ability to do any testing, review, vet the reliability of the information, properly prepare for cross-examination, this trial, that should not occur. Just because it happened last trial and the Commonwealth was disadvantaged does not mean it should happen this trial. And that is precisely why I began moving for discovery in this case early on. Inevitably, if these witnesses cannot provide information because it's under a protective order, it may not be the defendant's fault in inception, but it is their problem and difficulty because they chose to hire the ARCA witnesses. They could have chosen any witnesses they want. Rule 14 is not obviated because they made a strategic decision to call the ARCA witnesses. So now going into this trial, even Dr. Rensselaer admitted that an expert should have time, in their opinion, a month or more, to review the raw materials. It's not enough simply to have a report, as Attorney Alisi preached during his argument. We should have the opportunity to go through the raw data, the history, the videos, determine whether there's any failed testing. We don't have that benefit. And so my position has changed, that those early opinions should not come in because we have no ability to fairly cross-examine. As for the new opinions, the report may not be done till May 7th. We are in the middle of trial. Concedingly by the defense, or at least their witnesses, it takes a month to go through the discovery. When I filed my motion on the eve of trial that we would be unable to prepare
You know what's funny about this? Remember how in Whitey's trial he said the exact same thing, and he said, "I need the taxpayers to provide us with 6 more attorneys for Mr. Bolger so that I can argue that he's not a rat." And then he threw a fucking hissy fit when he only got 5. Why? Because it's too much to read. It's too much to read. This is the same motherfucker that's also simultaneously introducing new fucking shit into trial and throwing every motion at the wall that he can rip out of his bodingus little stretched out pasty white twink booty hole. Sir, you look like the Zodiac Killer. Shut the fuck up.
Or we would want a continuance in this case. I appreciate why this case wasn't continued, but I knew, given our scheduling, our expert.
You've had it for a year. And don't forget about the Sally Port. You didn't give us information in the form of video evidence that could potentially put this lady on a path to freedom. So that is technically a Brady violation. And you did that, you did that, you did that, you fucking fool. So don't bring that argument up, or I will come to your house and draw penis rockets on your car. I'm sorry.
Experts will not be able to look at this material. Our expert is away until after the first week of May. He is going to be testifying shortly after. He will have no ability to digest this enormous amount of materials, vet whether it's accurate or not.
Digest this zip. And also, sir, you don't even, first of all, you don't even got to read the case. You could just watch the trial, and you still ain't done that. You can't watch TV. You can't watch some TV. You could go play harmonica at a sad boy bar, but you can't watch the TV for your job. Oh,
Conduct tests to combat it if he thinks that it's inaccurate or unfair. And so the discovery violations,
a duck test. Woo.
regardless of the state of mind, are upon the defendant. There is no exception that you used ARCA witnesses. There is no exception that you hired somebody that used to be under a federal protective order. They chose them, and I would suggest it seems strategically. When we noticed we'd have new experts in October, the defense, from past experience and probably other experience, but we know from this case, knows the process. They would have to file a TUI letter and wait for a response. And yet they waited until February to seek permission, which then extended their permission past February into March. And then they didn't even start the review until late March. And so it's fundamentally unfair. We should not be placed in the position of cross-examining experts without the fair ability, as any participant, defendant, Commonwealth, any participant would have in a case, to consider and then to rebut. And so for that reason, I ask you to exclude both the new opinions and new testing, and also to exclude the earlier opinions that we will never at this point receive the proper discovery with to prepare.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Lassie, I only have one question for you. So would you stand, please? You're arguing this, right? This was.
She's like, would you fuck me? Would you fuck me? And then she does a Buffalo Bill dance after she fucking tucks that shit back.
Your motion. So my question is,
I'd fuck me.
how do I reconcile the fact that 100 text messages were deleted by counsel, and we
What about the ones deleted by Jen McCabe?
heard yesterday counsel's preferred method of dealing with Dr. Wolf was via
What about Brian Higgins?
signal? How do we reconcile that with the Massachusetts Rules of Professional Conduct 1.15? I don't see how you reconcile that, where all correspondence related to the matter, whether in physical or electronic form, must be saved for 10 years minimum. How do you reconcile that? How do I reconcile that?
Should I go to the podium?
Right there, and I expect a short answer.
The short answer, Your Honor, is the rule that you're citing has absolutely no applicability to this proceeding. Can I finish my answer, Your Honor?
Right ahead.
Has no applicability. That rule is intended to be between an attorney and the client. The court has no jurisdiction to enforce that rule.
I agree. I agree. That's a different body, but I'm asking you how I reconcile that when I'm trying to figure this out. Mr. Lessie, you know what? You're going to win this, so why don't you just let me make my ruling? Okay. So I understand there have been.
Oh, did I just get horny? Wait, what? What did Bev just do to me? Beverly, Bevy, hun. Beverly, you fucking whore. You little slut, dirtbag bitch. Do you see what she just did? Do you see what she just did? She just, okay, where are Leslie? Are you ready? She just slapped us and threw us up against a wall and said, "What are you going to fucking do about it?" And he said, well, Your Honor, I'm not going to take this abuse. And then she let go of our throat and she let us down and she said, "Good. Then I'm going to fuck you." And we're like, "What?" And then she's like, "That's right. I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to leave you money on the nightstand and you're going to like it." We're like, "Well, I mean, we didn't." And then it's too late. She's already taken us. There's nothing we can do here. She likes us. She likes us. She's like, "Listen, you son of a bitch, you're going to win. I just like the sport. I just like the hunt." She Richard Hansoned us. She took us to Alaska on an airplane, tied up, let us out into the winter, strapped us down, told us to run, pulled out a gun, started chasing us. We're terrified. We're scared. We're sweating. We're running. Our tits are flying everywhere. We're like, is this how it ends? It is this is actually very dark and terrifying. But guess what she does? She shoots it off and she's like, "Hollywood gun. What's up, babe? Happy vacation. Will you marry me?" And we're like, "Whoa, Bev, this is too soon." She's Pepe Le Pew, dude. She's fucking around. She's doing illegal things. She's throwing us into walls. She's seducing us. But listen, she never gave a fuck about that, dude. This is Love Island. She's Montoya. We're just hurting each other at this point so Bev can have fun. That was a fucking roller coaster. Her and Alessi just kind of slapped each other around and then kissed. Something happened there. What was that? What was this? Is this what it's like to like? Is this what those weird sex parties are about that are on the TV? Is this what that elf shit was about? I don't know, dude. This is shocking. This is shocking. She's like, "Listen, I was beating up on you for a reason. It's because you're my favorite." What, bitch? She's like, "I want to make you stern. I want to make you calloused." It's like, oh shit. Is she just fucking with the Commonwealth too? Is she doing all this? Is she leading them on, dude? Is she leading them on? Are we gonna get the rose at the end? Are we gonna get the rose and be the best? Okay. I just need to see this again. I'm sorry.
I don't see how you reconcile that, where all correspondence related to the matter, whether in physical or electronic form, must be saved for 10 years minimum. How do you reconcile that? How do I reconcile that?
Should I go to the podium?
Right there, and I expect a short answer.
The short answer, Your Honor, is the rule that you're citing has absolutely no applicability to this proceeding for the, can I finish my answer, Your Honor?
Right ahead.
Has no applicability. That rule is intended to be between an attorney and the client. The court has no jurisdiction to enforce that rule.
I agree. That's a different body, but I'm asking you how I reconcile that when I'm trying to figure this out. Mr. Lessie, you know what? You're going to win this, so why don't you just let me make my ruling? Okay. So I understand there have been repeated violations of the reciprocal discovery orders and my orders, repeated and deliberate. But, and Mr. Brennan, I understand completely the Commonwealth's argument, completely the ambush that has been set upon here. However, a defendant's right to a fair trial is paramount. to everything. So I'm going to allow the ARCA witnesses to testify. I am going to allow what I expect to be a very robust cross-examination. And I'm going to allow them to testify to everything that they said up until yesterday. So you'll get the report May 7th. And I know that's late. And if you need anything as a result of that being late, I'll hear.
Let's not pretend that's not in a week, girl. Whatever you need to say to sleep at night, as long as we get the canon guy with the deep, deep dimples.
Hear you on whatever motion you have. But that's where we stand. And I expect counsel to comply with all rulings and rules of the court and all rules of professional conduct, and no more nonsense. Let's just try this case. All right, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow.
All rise in the court, please.
God damn. Well, I'm exhausted. I'm going to sleep a very long time. And my butthole's unpuckered. And why'd she have to go and do that? I don't know, but it was kind of fun. Let's not lie. The end was kind of fun. That was a pretty cool psych. You guys didn't like it? I thought it was sick. She was like, you know what? Fuck you. You win. Like, whoa. I'm confused. You like me now? What? You hit me with your car and then you asked me on a date? What is this? A fucking Matthew McConaughey movie? What are we doing? Fucking Beverly. She really likes Alessi. Was that his wife there with the daughter? Because if that was Alessi's wife in the back, that's why Bev did that. She's showing dominance. She's marking her territory today. What she did was called spraying, ladies and gentlemen, much like a feline does when it's protecting its territory or marking its space. She sprayed the defense. And she said, this is my shit, bitch. Unfortunately, she's a judge, so she has a lot of power. Much like a skunk. I told you, she's our Pepe Le Pew now. That was wild, dude. I for real was like, Bev, are you trying to fuck us? Like for real, though? Fuck, dude. That was nuts. Anyway, thank you guys for being here today. I love you to death. You're all the best. I'm fucking out of here. I'm done. I'm fucking done with this shit. We're going back to shrimp law, dude. I can't take it anymore. We're going back to shrimp law. Bev got my emotions all fucked up. Got me feeling like, you know. Anyway, you guys have a good one, okay? I'll see you out on this.
Hello, folks. Nuck here. A lot of you have been asking me about my morning routine, so here it is. It's my new teeth. Snort-worthy smile, if you ask me. So I like to start my morning by waking up at 2 in the afternoon, get a quick lift, lick, and lurk in before I go off and spend the next several hours in the woods. And this time is mainly for my freeform lurks. I just lurk like no one's watching. Then I head into town to do some casual creeping. I mean, I'm freaking everyone out because I'm getting in my squirms. But you gotta squirm to stay firm. I forget what I'm doing for the next 3 days and get an office job that I absolutely hate. Spend most of my time hiding in the storage closet, but all my coworkers know I'm in there. The next 26 hours I'm purposefully unconscious, come to so I can try on some tuxes because I'm getting married. Love to Ragnora. I'll practice my funeral for 30 minutes, at which point I gotta pretend to listen to someone tell me about a dream they had, but I'm really just thinking about what I'm gonna say. Then, and this is important, I'll just wait. Eerily for hours. What am I waiting for? A big heap of nothing. I wait to wait. I'll spend 2 minutes trying to create fire with my mind, giving me just enough time for a last lurk before the day begins. That's the Bobo way.